Welcome class to Adobe Photoshop Layer Mask. This is a pre-recorded lesson and today we're going to continue our learnings about Adobe Photoshop. So this is lesson 4, Layer Mask. If you have any questions or comments, share it by the end of the class or you can also share it in our respective messenger. Previously we've discussed about Adobe Photoshop Adjustment Layer and today we're going to talk about layer mask. So basically this is just a recap since we've already discussed it last time. However, my computer failed to record it. So again, this is a recap. Layer mask is a powerful tool in Adobe Photoshop that allows users to hide or reveal parts of an image without deleting pixels. Instead of permanently erasing parts of an image, a mask works by controlling visibility using black and white colors. So if you can remember, basically we're not really erasing anything, any part of the image. It's just we are just blocking it. We're just blocking it to be viewed by by brushing it with black and white. And for the colors, white reveals, black conceals. This is the fundamental principle of masking. You can remember, if we paint the layer mask with black, it removes the of that part that you just brushed, and if you paint it with white, it will be revealed. It will restore back. It will be restored back. So the easiest way to create a layer mask, first step that you're going to do is to go to the layers panel, select a layer, and then click a layer mask icon. So the layer mask icon is going to be like this. It's a rectangle with a circle in the middle. And then a new mask thumbnail appears to the next to the layer. This controls the visibility of that layer. So this is if this is your image, this is the layer, this is your image, and this is your mask thumbnail. So whatever it is that you're going to paint within this thumbnail will also affect to the photo right here. Okay, so this is currently white. If you paste it or paint it with black, those parts that you painted with black will be hidden. And then if you paint it with white again, those hidden parts will be revealed. So the power of black and white in masking. Paint black on the mask thumbnail to hide parts of an image, and then paint white to make parts of the image visible again. Use different shades of gray for partial transparency. Now to show how it's done, let's open our Adobe Photoshop. Here we have a nice photo of a street, and then we're going to add a photo of a person, and then we'll try to use layer mask to remove the background and make it look like that photo or that person is really inside that photo, or is really this photo is realistic. Basically we're going to make it look like this person is really in the streets and has had his photo been taken rather. So I think this should be enough. This is where we're going to put the person in. Once you successfully added it, by the way, to add it, file and then place, embedded, and then click enter on your keyboard. So again, we're going to start creating a mask. So what we're going to do is first we're going to select the background, and right now since it's all white, it would be very easy for us to do so. And we're going to think of ways, choose or maybe try the different ways on how we can remove backgrounds. So first is by using the black and white in masking. So basically, right now we don't have the mask yet. To add the layer mask, click on the layer mask icon, and as you can see, we have white mask thumbnail. So since this is white, that means if we're going to paint it with black, those painted area will be invisible. So we will use brush. We will set the hardness at the size. You can use the slider, right click and then click on the slider, or on your keyboard press the bracket icons or press the bracket keys. Let's set the hardness to the maximum. That means it will have the sharpest edge. And let's start to paint the area around the person. Now, you can either do it if you're really expert. You can go ahead and zoom it in and then decrease or increase the size of your brush to get into details. It kind of worked, but let's try to find a better way. But you get the idea. Alright, so we can zoom in, decrease the size of our brush, and if you're really patient and you're really good, you can go ahead and paint rather, the edge of the person, which in this case works really well, but not as well as we wanted it to. We will try another way later on. Now, like I said a while ago, the painting it with white will make the parts of the image visible again. So let's try to change this into white. We'll just have to click this to swap. Right now we're currently on white, and let's try to paint. Okay, as you can see, since we painted it with white, the images that was hidden, it has been revealed again. So that's the power of painting it with black and white for color masking. So I'm not going to finish it all. We're going to proceed to the next step, or another way rather. Another way in making layer mask is using pen tool. Paint black on the mask to hide the parts of an image, and then use the pen tool to create precise path around the object. Convert the path into selection by right click and then make selection and apply the mask. This is great for sharp edged object like products or architecture. So in this case, we're going to duplicate it, and then we'll hide the first try. We will rename it with brush white and black. So it's not required, but this is just for us to be guided. And for the second one, we're going to rename it. We will use pen tool, but we have to reset our layer mask. So just click on the layer mask thumbnail and delete it. As you can see, it restored back to the its original form. You can always hide it. And then if you want to reveal the first layer that we did, click on the eye icon. For now, we'll hide it. We will reveal the first one. So we will use pen tool. The pen tool is basically we can create accurate accurate tracing. Basically, we're going to trace the person, and as you can remember, we can accurately trace it since this person has sharp edge. However, we might have some issues with the hair because the hair is so frizzy, and yeah, it may not work as well as we want it to, but we can try. So again, going back, this is great for sharp edge object like products or architecture. So as long as there is no uh, frizz like hairs, etc., so long as the edge is sharp, this should work really well. So we'll try the best I could to trace it. So I think we've already discussed how to do it using how to use pen tool using the during the illustrate Adobe Illustrator lesson. So basically, it's going to be the same thing. It is going to be the same thing. Click single click to connect straight line. Click and drag to create a curve, and then you can always adjust the angle by clicking on the anchor point. Now, in this case, it would be very hard for me to trace the hair, so I'm just going to go around it. Then we will try another way later on to fix the to trace around the hair as accurate as we can. And then make sure to click on your very first anchor point to close the loop. And right click and then make selection, set the feather radius to 0 and then click OK. As you can see, we're able to select the person. This time we can go ahead and click the layer mask, and then here it is. So basically it works really well on sharp edge objects like this. However, you might find it hard to fix this area. Now, there are several ways to fix it, but before that, let's proceed to another one. So let's duplicate it again. Control J on your keyboard. Let's hide this. Let's proceed to the next one. Next is using the selection tools like lasso, quick selection, and marquee. So for lasso tool, it's a freehand selection for regular shapes. It's the polygonal lasso tool for straight edge objects, and quick selection tool for to automatically select areas based on the texture differences. Let's erase the thumbnail. One moment, please. Right, so let's try the lasso tool, the polygonal tool, and quick selection tool. Now, all of these may not work accurately for selecting people, but this will work on easier objects like circles, squares, basically objects that has easier edges or easier shape. Okay, so we will try using the lasso tool. We have a picture of a basketball court and an actual basketball, and since it has a very simple shape, we should be able to use the selection tool a lot easier. So let's start with the lasso tool. Click L on your keyboard, right click, and make sure to select lasso tool. Basically, it will allow you to trace or freehandedly trace the edge of the circle. But it may not be accurate because you have to be very careful, as careful as you can. So it may not work. It may not work properly using keyboard and mouse, but you get a better chance if you're going to use a graphic tablet. But at least you get the idea. So just draw around the circle as accurate as you can. Well, I'm not doing it accurately, but you get the idea. And once you're done, click on the layer mask icon. Here it is. So that's the best thing I can do with the last tool. Let's try another one. The polygonal lasso tool. The polygonal lasso tool will allow you to do the same thing. However, you can connect multiple straight lines by just clicking around it. So you can either go ahead and zoom it in and click as close as you can, just like that. So I'm clicking around the area because again, and I click it as close as I can because the moment that you're going to click it too far, you'll get a straight line selection just like this. All right, so let's basically that's why it's called polygonal, because it allows you to create basically a shape with different sides. Now once you're done, connect to the first dot, and then same thing. That's it. So far it didn't really work. It didn't work really well. Let's try another tool, the quick selection tool. The quick selection tool here. Right click on this area right here in the quick selection tool. This, however, will allow you to paste the area. For example, just going to paint around the ball, and then it will automatically detect an edge. Alright, so this worked well, this worked better, and we're just going to exclude this part right here. So the shadow is na-appeal ang shadow basically. So if we're going to remove this, click Alt on your keyboard. Notice that the plus icon in the middle of the cursor turns um, is currently plus, but if we click Alt, it turns into a minus again, plus by default. And then if we click Alt, it turned into a minus. And we're going to paste the area that we want to remove, just like that. Alright, I think this is good. Click on the area, on the layer mask tool, and then that's it. Control P to decrease the size. Put it right here. Alright, so the selection tool only works if you're using an object, or when trying to select a subject, or yeah, an object that has very easy shape or common shape. However, may not work as well as it may not work as well with objects that has irregular shape like a person. So another way is to do a color range selection. To do so, go to select color range to select pixels based on similar colors. Works well for replacing backgrounds or isolating elements with uniform colors. So that is actually the reason why photo shoots should have one single color in the background. It could be either white or anything. It's because it allows Photoshops to or any editing software to select the background easily. So to do that, go to select and then color range, and then we are trying to take a sample on the area that we want to remove. So in this case, what we're going to do is make sure to select sample colors, or we can also go ahead and set highlights. But to make sure, we're going to use sample colors, and we're going to sample the area that we want to remove. However, one of the drawback is since the background color is white, basically it automatically selects white colors. Notice that the t-shirt is also white. That means this will be included as soon as we sample it. So we'll try. Click on the area that you want to sample. Click Shift to add. Okay, as you can see, all of this part has been selected. All you need to do is go ahead and click OK. Or maybe you can adjust the fuzziness a little bit. Make sure that the background is completely white. But the area that we don't want to include should be also completely black. And then click OK. So basically, it selects the area, the white area. However, it also selects the t-shirt. So if we will try to go ahead and mask it, this is what happens. Basically, the white is left out, but we can always turn it around or do an opposite selection. All we need to do is right click and invert mask option. Okay, it's not showing in here, so we will just use keyboard Control I to invert and see how it moves. However, the problem is in the middle. All the white areas is also selected, and since this person is very white, some of the highlights in his body is also selected. We can either fix it by painting it with white. All right. So again, we will paint it with white to fix it, but that's double the work. It works, however, basically it just doubles the work. All right. So maybe in some cases we can use this. We can use this way. But right now, it just it's just too much. So maybe there is another way. So we'll call it color range. Again, color range will only work if you have a clean, solid background. You can easily isolate your subject. What if we will use a select subject? So found under select and then object. This AI-driven feature, the text that selects the main subject of an image, ideal for quick cutouts in portraits and simple compositions. So let's duplicate it again. We will hide the previous one. Let's delete the thumbnail and then we will use select subject. Select and then subject and then just wait for maybe a few moments. It is an AI-driven tool that allows basically the Photoshop will automatically select the text as subjects for us, and as you can see, it detects completely. All we need to do is go ahead and click the layer mask, and here it is. So I think among all of the steps that we did, this is the easiest and the cleanest way. However, it may require an internet for it to work as accurate as possible. Although it will still work without internet, but it will work better if you're connected to the internet. All right, so I think that's it. Maybe the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to match the color from the background and our program to make sure to make it look like it's really there. All we need to do is go ahead and click on filter. Oh no, we might have to. Let's duplicate it just to make sure we'll hide the second one. Let's rasterize layer. Convert to smart object rather, and then rasterize layer. Go to image, and then adjustments, and then match color. So basically, we'll try to match the color of the background and our subject to make it look like that person is really there. So we will select the source. Right now, our source should be the Pexels Aram Saba. This one, and then we will select the layer. Our layer that we want to copy, it should be the background. So we will select background, and as you can see, it tried to match the color, the ambient, but we can go ahead and try to match it even further by selecting either fade, and maybe the luminance because supposedly there should. Okay, I think this is it. So we will try to compare. This is before and this is after. Right, and then one last thing, obviously the person that don't have legs, so we're going to add one. This may not work on your end because this will only work for genuine Adobe Photoshop, basically Adobe Photoshop with subscription. But let me show you how it's done. We will paint the area that we want to add something to. Now basically this is called generative field. We will try to add, we will just type in add legs, then click enter and wait for a moment. It will automatically add the legs for us. Okay, and then choose from the option. Obviously it didn't work really well. Let's try it again. Now let's erase. We can either go ahead and generate again, but maybe it's the way I add the selection. So again, we'll try it to like that. Yeah, like jeans supposedly. Okay. Alright. I think there's something wrong with my PC, so we'll skip this one. However, this looked like a work from women, so we can go ahead and fix it um with our prompt. Let's try again. Uh, we can try admins legs with jeans, and let's see if it works. Alright, I think that's better. Alright, I think this one's the best. Parentheses done. Save it. Alright, so that's all for today. Thank you and see you on the next topic.